Admiral, if we continue crashing aircraft at this rate, the Navy will soon have plenty of aircraft carriers, but no aircraft. The pilots don't want to fly anymore. They say it's too dangerous. They want to try different landing techniques.
Well, what do you suggest we do?
Sir, we have to revise our standard operating procedures. Clearly the pilots are making the same mistakes over and over.
Are you out of your mind? The best brains in the Navy wrote those procedures.
Yes, sir, but it's not working. We have to find a better way of landing on the deck.
This is the only technique we know, and it is the only one that is approved. So, tell your pilots to stick to the standard operating procedures.
Aye, aye, sir.
Doing the same thing all the time and expecting different results is insane. Where would the American Navy be today if officers had carried on using the same old techniques that were clearly not working? Probably extinct. We may well laugh at the absurd scene depicted here, but the sad thing is that we are doing the very same thing right now, here in South Africa. And our situation is far worse than crashing a few aircraft. We are talking about losing 1,000 lives every single day. Lives that represent parents, children, skilled workers, the very lifeblood of the South African economy. Yes, by now you've realized that we are talking about HIV/AIDS. But what does the American Navy have to do with AIDS? Plenty. In the farcical scene, our admiral continues on his merry way, destroying aircraft by employing techniques that are flawed and outdated. We do exactly the same. For the past 20 years, we have employed techniques to fight HIV/AIDS that we know don't work. And the proof that they don't work lies in the ever-escalating infection rate. Had it not been so deadly serious, we could have laughed at ourselves for making the same mistakes as the Admiral. The situation prompted the researchers of AIDS at Work to pose the opening question, why, after so many years of relentless and intensive HIV/AIDS education and training by the world's best educators and experts, does the incidence of HIV infections still accelerate? Why, after investing billions of dollars worldwide, is the disease still spiraling out of control? After networking with many institutions of higher learning, including the University of Pretoria, RAU, WITS, UNISA, VISTA, Medunsa, Commonwealth Open Universities, the United Nations, USAID, Family Health International, and many more, the researchers came to the same conclusion. The approach used by most educators and trainers is ineffective and outdated. A logical, systemic, and knowledge-based approach was almost exclusively followed. Furthermore, our research indicated that HIV and AIDS have very little to do with knowledge and everything to do with emotion. The experts did acknowledge that the awareness phase is a vital first step, but few have progressed past step 1, leaving others to rush in where angels feared to tread. Subsequently, AIDS at Work's management team invested heavily in the research, design, and development of unique, holistic behavior modification technology. The result is Tillys Tavern, a video-based series consisting of 15 modules of 20 minutes each. Past HIV/AIDS education and training focused on knowledge and logic, but Tillys Tavern relies heavily on a wide variety of tried and tested, valid scientific behavior modification methods. The Shebeen situation may be viewed as a social laboratory that people from various walks of life frequent after work. Instinctive, primitive human needs and emotions are aroused and at times expressed. All these help viewers of the audiovisual learning material to learn the high-risk behavior associated with an unhealthy lifestyle and poor self-management habits. Unhealthy beliefs about HIV/AIDS are targeted and modified through the use of behavior modeling and technology. The bottom line of the conditioned learning approach is to empower the viewers to change their unhealthy lifestyles and negative beliefs about the dangers of HIV/AIDS infections through an experiential learning and autocognitive behavior change process. Leading the passionate creative AIDS at Work team is Professor Dr. Arthur Ngwezi, clinical psychologist and specialist counselor in lifestyle-related diseases. In the past 42 years, he has been dedicated to a wide variety of human behavior management and modification projects. He has interacted with thousands of managers and employees, adding value to their work experiences. Welcome to the fascinating world of Tillys Tavern. I am proud to introduce you to some of the characters and to give you a preview of the series. And I have the privilege of explaining some of the principles involved. Lillian Dube plays Tilly, a no-nonsense woman with a heart of gold who owns Tillys Tavern. Whether the public disapproves or condemns the existence of shebeens as useful social structures, the fact remains they are old and established social institutions. Dolly is a typical hard-working, loyal young woman who finds it difficult to make ends meet. She works at the local car factory by day and moonlights at Tillys Tavern to supplement her income. A misunderstanding leads to her boyfriend Jabu assaulting her.
Jabu, that was nothing. All I did was just to sell beers to the customers. What's wrong with you? Hey,
the incident leads to her drinking too much and she ends up being raped.
Listen, I bought your drinks and I'm taking you home. Is this how you thank me? Huh? Is this how you thank me? Huh?
Jabu is an artisan worker on a car assembly line.
You see, if you want to become a real man, you must go to the initiation school and get circumcised, Mpana. Then you will be a real man.
He is a staunch believer in circumcision and a graduate of this noble African tradition. He believes that an uncircumcised man is not a real man. He is not afraid of HIV/AIDS because he has been to the mountain school.
Hey, let me tell you, Mpana, I don't have AIDS. You know what? Men who get AIDS are very weak, son. You know strong men like me? Oh, they'll never get AIDS. You know I trumpet every morning and I drink muti and clean my stomach every week. It will never affect me.
Yeah, it will. If you sleep around, it will affect you.
Abel van Tonner is an old-style autocratic line manager at the same car factory where Jabu and Dolly work. Because he has been happily married for more than 20 years, he also believes that he is immune to HIV/AIDS. In fact, he reckons there is no such thing as HIV/AIDS in his factory.
I hope you enjoyed your holiday.
Yes, good morning. Never mind my holiday. Are you the supervisor of this section, yes or no?
Yes, Mr. Van Donner.
He is widely known by his nickname, Nurses, which he hates passionately.
Mr. Litwaba, nurses is here. Oh, I mean Mr. Van Donner is here. You can go through.
By the way, how was your holiday?
Fine.
That means that you are well rested and that you could start an important new project that I've planned for you.
Which is?
The implementation of our company's HIV/AIDS policy.
But I know nothing about AIDS except that you've got to avoid it.
Never mind. I have appointed somebody who does know to help you. I expect you to give him your 100% cooperation. He's waiting in the office as we speak.
There is someone waiting for you.
I know.
Morning. I'm Peter Groenewald. You must be Mr. Van Donner.
Both Nurses and Jabu believe irrefutably that they can never contract HIV/AIDS, albeit for totally different reasons.
Do you know that 20% of your workforce could be HIV positive? That means 1 out of every 5, and that could include you.
Don't be ridiculous. None of my people have died from AIDS, and I certainly don't have it. I've been married for 22 years. I've been faithful to my wife, and my wife has been faithful to me. But what makes you such an expert anyway?
Well, for a start, I'm HIV positive.
You what?
I'm HIV positive. Don't worry. You can't get AIDS from a handshake.
That's impossible. I mean, you're white and...
Yes, sir, I'm white and I'm married. But I'm HIV positive. This disease doesn't discriminate whether you're black or white, rich or poor, gay or straight. You'll be at risk if you're not careful.
On learning about Groenewald's HIV positive status, he is shocked and wipes his hand on his clothes. He reveals fear and ignorance, showing the very powerful principle that seeing is believing, as well as the influence of ignorance on human behavior. Jethro is a highly experienced and successful football coach who becomes a victim of HIV/AIDS through loss of self-control due to excessive drinking and an unprotected sexual encounter.
But then 2 years ago, I made the mistake of my life. And today, I can tell you, I am HIV positive.
But you knew about AIDS. So how did you get that HIV then?
Yeah. It took one night of celebration, my friend. My favorite shipping. New job as a coach.
Condom for what? What? Condom for what? You're insulting me. You mean I got AIDS? What's wrong with you? No, protecting yourself from what? Do I look like
I can tell you one thing here and now, that it was the most terrible mistake of my life. Just that once. And it left me HIV positive. You know, drinking too much can be very hazardous. Because liquor has got a way of getting to your waist and it bothers you and it leaves you stupid.
In this scene, we relied on one of the most important principles in psychology and human experience. Experiential learning is education that occurs as a direct participation in the events of life. Here, learning is not sponsored by some formal educational institution, but by people themselves. It is learning that is achieved through reflection upon everyday experience and is the way that most of us do our learning. Experiential learning is most lasting and pervasive, and importantly, is equivalent to personal change and growth. After experiencing this scene, the viewer knows the feeling of regret, of irreversibility, of passing the point of no return. One careless touch and it leaves you permanently affected.
What is wrong with you?
Nothing's wrong, okay? Get to it, wait. Don't touch my blood.
Why can't I touch your blood?
Don't touch it.
Under painful stimuli, Dolly's defenses are down, hence her disclosure of her HIV positive status.
But Dolly, it's only a card. Get. I was raped.
What?
No, yesterday I went to the doctor. And he told me I'm HIV positive.
Oh, Dolly. Why didn't you tell me? I think Jabu will understand that is not your fault. I'll explain to him if you want me to.
No. Get him. Don't tell Jabu about this. You know, Jabu doesn't believe that he can also get AIDS. He's been sleeping with me all the time without using a condom. How am I going to tell him that he is also HIV positive? He will kill me.